so much for joining us. I'm one of these people, I like to see the eyes of the people I'm speaking to, and I'm like, okay, who's out there? But welcome. It is absolutely awesome to have you here. The convocation is something new. We have just started, we did it last year, because we realized, as I said earlier, Stony Brook people like to talk. And when we're at the luncheon, it would be, you'd start talking and then we'd make an award. We'd start talking and we'd make another award. And you could see this frustration because some of you haven't seen each other in 10, 15, 20, even 50 years. And there's something absolutely fabulous about catching up because we've all here had the unique shared experience of Stony Brook. So what we're going to do right now is have a chance to honor some of our alumni, our Alumni Achievement winner, as well as our Athletic Hall of Fame. And so right now I'm going to ask Josh to come up, and we are going to be doing something a little different. Our Alumni Achievement Award is for Dorothy Chang, Brasco, class of 76. They're hoping they are the largest group here. We're going to check the registration later. And Dorothy had an ankle injury, I think on Tuesday, and was unable to fly to be here. So we're trying something new with technology. When you hear Dorothy's resume, it's just really fabulous, but we're pleased to honor her, but I am really excited. She's coming in November to spend some time with our kids, and that's the future, and so we're really excited about that. Josh?
Well, good morning to all of you. Great to see you. We'll get right to it because Dorothy's right behind me. So it's my privilege to present this year's Alumni Achievement Award. Each year, the Stony Brook School's Alumni Achievement Award is presented to an alumnus or alumna who has shown an outstanding degree of service to his or her community, as well as professional achievement. The recipient of this year's Alumni Achievement Award is Dorothy Chang Brasco, a member of the class of 1976. Dorothy Roscoe, Chief Financial Officer for the Johnson Space Center, joined NASA in 1985. She oversees the financial health of Johnson Space Center and is responsible for its budget and financial operations. She began at NASA first as an engineer designing physical facilities such as the Neutral Buoyancy Laboratory and managing the Construction of Facilities program. She would later run a division that outfitted the Space Shuttle's mid-deck cabin before serving as business manager for the entire Space Shuttle program. Ms. Roscoe earned her Bachelor of Science degree in Civil and Environmental Engineering from the University of Rhode Island. During her time at NASA, Ms. Roscoe completed the Johnson Space Center Program, Project Management Program, and Leadership Development Program. In addition, she has been awarded NASA fellowships to the Smith College Management Program and the Harvard Business School, Leadership for Senior Executives. Her accomplishments have been recognized by numerous awards, including the NASA Outstanding Leadership Medal, NASA Exceptional Service Medal, the Johnson Space Center Certificate of Commendation, the Equal Opportunity Award, a nominee for the Rotary Stellar Award, and the University of Rhode Island College of Engineering Distinguished Achievement Award. In 2012, she received the Technology All-Star Award for Women of Color. In addition, she also serves on the Advisory Council for the University of Rhode Island, College of Engineering, and Texas Southern University, College of Science and Technology. She has served as Vice President and President of the Asian Pacific American Council, Vice President of the Board of Directors of the Johnson Space Center Child Care Center. She is a member of the Senior Executive Service and Society of Women Engineers, the Johnson Space Center Diversity and Exchange Council, and the Vice President of their National Management Association. Ms. Roscoe is married and has 2 boys, proving that Brookers can do rocket science. The Stony Brook School is proud to present this year's Alumni Achievement Award to Dorothy Chang Brasco, class of 1970.
I'm being down from International Space Station. Not really, just from the Johnson Space Center. Oh, did it freeze? Okay, I'll keep talking. I sent a video, if you want to play the video, because I keep getting feedback. But I did want to thank, it's hard to talk because of the feedback that's coming back, so I'll just talk fast. That I do want to thank everyone at the Stony Brook School that just made my life so wonderful. It set the foundation for my career. Character before career is very much my motto. I want to thank all of my advisors, my teachers. I know that my girlfriends Ruth and Lois and Mary and Terry and Lucy are all there. I am so sorry I'm not there. I was totally planning on coming. And I just really thank you for this wonderful award. I'm humbled and just in awe. And rather than me talking, if you could play the video, it's really how I think about Stony Brook School, the great education I had, the great experiences I had in setting the foundation for both my education and for my career to be the leader that I am. So Jackson, I'm not sure if you can play the video, that way I don't hear back. It was something that I put together yesterday, a little bit about NASA, a little about my journey, a little about my career, and I'm just so sorry that I'm not there, and just thank you so much. It's a great honor. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. I can't believe it. I am so excited. Unbelievable. Anyway, it is a privilege and an honor to accept this award. I just can't believe it with all my wonderful classmates. And oh yes, class of 1976, 40 years. Woo-hoo! Here we go. I just want to thank all of the teachers, advisors, and classmates that helped me build the foundation for me to be successful in my career. The Stony Brook School and the motto, character before career, all of these played a major part in my journey for my career development. I learned after coming to Stony Brook for 1 year that I had to adapt and be flexible to different environments, the way different organizations operate. And from what I learned from the Stony Brook School, and from what I learned from being in all of the different activities, from supporting makeup and theater to playing field hockey and softball and basketball, and even being on the men's swimming team, there are things that I'm good at and things that I am not good at, and that all these experiences help me build my career. Like my bio said, I graduated in civil environmental engineering, and I came to the Johnson Space Center and worked in facilities, but I slowly changed jobs within the organization. There's so much opportunity down here at NASA and at the Johnson Space Center. It was so exciting because the space shuttle was flying, and I played a major part in the space shuttle program. I supported 44 missions in different capacities, from developing spaceflight hardware to managing the $3.8 billion budget. Now I am the Chief Financial Officer for the Johnson Space Center, and we have a $4.2 billion budget. Our major programs are the International Space Station, where we have 6 crew members flying 240 miles above Earth as we speak. The Orion spacecraft, that we will go into deep space exploration and the journey to Mars. and the commercial crew program. We have a lot of activities going on with new technologies in the exploration program to go to deep space exploration. I just wanted to share a couple words with you and how Stony Brook played a major part for my success. At Stony Brook, I was given the help and the advice and really the foundation for me to be successful at NASA. NASA is a huge team. We work together in a team effort, and at Stony Brook, being able to have my dinners with my teachers and with my classmates and with all my friends, we were able to share not only experiences in the social life, but we were also able to share when it came to learning experiences, whether it was math, science, English. I always had people to help me when I had questions. So after the space shuttle program ended, my hardest challenge was to shut down the program. If you are in California and you go to the California Science Center, you will see Endeavour displayed there. If you're in Washington, D.C. and you go to the Smithsonian, you'll see Discovery displayed there. And all of you New Yorkers, please go to the Intrepid Museum, and that is where Enterprise is. And at the Kennedy Space Center, Atlantis is displayed. And so one of my biggest challenges was how to keep the morale of the team positive, knowing that we were shutting down the program, that they had just committed the last 30 years of their life in making sure that these astronauts flew safely to the International Space Station. It was a great challenge. As a leader, it was difficult but fun, and I learned every day how to treat people with integrity and to build the trust within the team so that we would unite. And at the end, when we delivered all of those orbiters to the different museums, it was as proud a mission as when we fly to the International Space Station. So in closing, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate this award. I do miss seeing all of you. I am so sorry I couldn't make it. I think about it, I think about how I really wish that I hadn't fallen and cracked my ankle bone, but I am not the most, I'm a little klutzy, and folks that played softball with me and folks that played field hockey with me knew I was not the best athlete. But please, please, please post lots of pictures. I can't wait to hear the different stories. I love seeing how many of my classmates actually are participating in the reunion, and I am so sorry to miss it. But thank you so much for this award, and I can't wait to catch up next time. Thank you.
We can't wait to see you until the 14th of November. So thanks for coming, and thank you for being a bit of an adventurer to be this part of this technology coming into this area. And class of 76, you've got a job to do this weekend.
It's awesome.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Our next part of our program is Dan Hickey is going to come and announce or present our Athletic Hall of Fame Awards, and Mr. Crane will help hand out the plaques.
Great. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 21st induction ceremonies of the Stony Brook School Athletic Hall of Fame. Today I have the honor of welcoming 4 new members into an exclusive club. that represents the very best student athletes from the 94-year history of blue and white athletics. A brief note about the process before we begin. This year, the selection process for the inductees was altered. In an effort to give greater ownership to the current Hall of Fame members, each one was invited to nominate candidates and vote on the final list. The 4 inductees here today received the highest votes from the 18 Hall of Famers who participated in the selection. From a list of 9 nominees, Robbie Marvin, class of 1996, Paul Ciafrone, class of 1996, Matt Mattamore, class of 1995, and Jerry Armfield, class of 1966, were chosen. I was pleased with the selections not only because of the impressive resumes of these 4 Brookers, but because of the qualities each of them embodies. I also feel a personal connection to each of them. I fondly remember watching Robbie, Paul, and Matt play basketball for my dad. In fact, I had a basketball video game as a kid in which you could create your own team with customizable players. Those 3 guys were on my team. I'm not kidding. And we were unstoppable. I also grew up in awe of the black and white pictures I first saw in the 1966 yearbook of this player dunking on hapless defenders. I didn't even know Stony Brook players could dunk. And Jerry and I have had a few phone calls since his selection, and I've enjoyed connecting with him, a fellow basketball player and track athlete. Now to the inductees. Our first inductee is Robbie Marvin, who follows his father into the Hall of Fame. Robbie spent just 2 years at the Brook, but what an impact he made in his short time with the Bears. He was an all-county performer on the soccer field, setting a still-standing school record of 20 goals in a season. He was all-conference in basketball, helping to lead the team to a playoff appearance in 1996. He was a 2-time all-county honoree in baseball and the 1996 league MVP, as he helped the Brook to league and county championships. He also won a slew of class night awards, most notably the Swanson Award for Best All-Around Athlete, an honor he shared that year with fellow Hall of Famer Jake Kenny, class of 1996. After the Brook, Robbie played second base at the University of Virginia, where he garnered all ACC accolades while leading the team in hitting and stolen bases. He remembers Stony Brook as a great place to play sports with quality teammates like Paul Ciafrone, Jeremy and Chris Meserol, and Matt Spooner. I remember Robbie as an absolute jet on the court, a fearless player in the game's biggest moments, and a fierce, fierce competitor. One game in particular stands out to me. In a playoff game in 1996, Robbie scored the first 17 points of the game. At one point, it was Robbie 17, Wyandanch 11. And then in the third quarter, he hit a shot I will never forget. I was 10 years old. I was sitting in the stands. And here's Robbie, fourth quarter, walks the ball across half court and pulls up from the jump circle. A 35-foot three-pointer in a tight playoff game in the fourth quarter. Never seen anything like it. He went on to score 39 points in a thrilling upset victory. No one was bigger in the biggest moments. Please join me in honoring Robbie Marvin. Our next inductee came into Stony Brook the same year as Robbie. Paul Ciafrone had a difficult start to his Stony Brook career after tearing his ACL early in his junior soccer season. His injury cost him his basketball season as well, but he came back for a sensational baseball season that helped him earn a spot on Long Island's Empire State Games team. After earning all-conference honors during his senior basketball season, Paul earned his second all-county nod in baseball and became the only Stony Brook baseball player to be selected to Newsday's All-Long Island team. Paul's power at the plate was without equal. The lacrosse team had to be on high alert whenever Paul came to bat, as his long balls often found their way into the bear cage. That was the sound of a screaming Paul Ciafrone line drive. To put that into perspective, the distance to the bear cage, the temporary outfield fence I erect every year for the baseball team is a good 40 feet in front of the bear cage. By his senior year, it was a routine sight to find professional scouts watching Paul take batting practice after games. After graduating from the Brook, Paul was drafted by the New York Mets in the 1996 MLB draft, becoming the only Brooker to be drafted into professional baseball. He went on to play baseball at Hofstra University, where he garnered first-team all-conference honors thanks to a .408 batting average to go along with 11 home runs, the 9th highest home run total in Hofstra history. He also earned Hofstra's Men's Scholar Athlete Award, recognizing strong academics and performance on the field. After Hofstra, he spent 3 years in the minor leagues, where he racked up 93 hits, 8 home runs, and 50 RBIs in 139 career games. When I asked Paul what memories stood out to him from his time at the Brook, he went back to that Wyandanch game. Though Robbie scored 39 points that day, he did not score the winning basket. With the score knotted at 66 all, Robbie took the ball coast to coast in the waning seconds, but left his layup short. Just before the buzzer sounded, Paul tipped in the shot to give the Bears the win. He finished with 18 points that day in one of the signature wins in Stony Brook basketball history. What I remember best about Paul was his toughness and sheer love of competition. Paul was a teammate anyone would want to go into battle with. Please join me in honoring Paul Siafrom. Our next inductee simply did it all. Matt Mattamore's career resume reads like something out of The Great Gatsby. On the gridiron, he was a 2-time all-county performer who held 4 school records when he graduated in 1995. He still holds the record for receiving touchdowns in a season with 12. On the basketball court, he was a 3-time all-conference honoree who led the Bears to back-to-back league titles in 1993 and 1994. He hit 42 three-pointers as a freshman, a school record that he beat the following year with 43. He became just the 4th Stony Brook player to score 1,000 career points and held the all-time scoring mark for 16 years. On the tennis court, he was part of a doubles tandem that won the 1993 conference championship against huge schools like Sachem, Ward Melville, and Patchogue Medford. On the track, yes, 4 sports, he won the 1995 division championship in the 100-meter dash in a school record time of 11.12, a mark that stood for 15 years. He also helped the 4x400-meter relay team win the division championship. After the Brook, Matt played football at Georgetown, where he helped the Hoyas win their first MAC Conference championship in 1997, scoring a touchdown to help end Duquesne's 20-game win streak. In 1998, he was named a first-team All-American. He remains 7th in Georgetown history in receiving yards in a game, a season, and a career. Matt's accolades are staggering, but what truly set him apart was the fact that he was as true a sportsman as he was a competitor. His greatest memory from playing at the Brook was the pride he felt in competing against, and often beating, much larger schools than ours. He also enjoyed being a fan of his classmates who excelled in lacrosse, swimming, and other sports during a successful age in blue and white athletics. Please join me in honoring Matt Mattamore. Our final inductee is Jerry Armfield, who arrived at Stony Brook having never played basketball. He remembers long hours spent in Carson Gymnasium, working on his skills, particularly his dunks, which he would do 100 times a day. That all came to fruition on one January night in 1966, when on this very floor, he poured in 39 points in a 75-57 win over Poly Prep. The stat of the game, Jerry had 17 dunks. 17! To give you an idea of how imposing a figure Jerry was, Calvin Hill, who would become an all-pro running back for the Dallas Cowboys, would become physically sick before his Riverdale team had to face Jerry. That's something Calvin told Jerry several years ago, so it comes from a reliable source. But Jerry excelled in his new sport, earning Ivy League Player of the Year honors in 1965 and garnering all Long Island honors as well. He was the beneficiary of an accelerated basketball education thanks to the famed courts of Rucker Park in Harlem that welcomed incredible talent during the summer months he was away from Stony Brook. A who's who of transcendent NBA stars descended on that renowned patch of asphalt, and Jerry ran up and down with them. Wilt Chamberlain, Dr. J, Elgin Baylor, Nate Tiny Archibald, Earl the Pearl Monroe. His favorite memory from those summer runs? Dunking on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'll take your word for it, but I believe you. Jerry's athleticism translated well to the track, where he earned a runner-up in the discus at the Ivy League championships. After Stony Brook, Jerry played basketball for 4 years at New York University, where he actually wasn't allowed to dunk. So, sorry about that. That was the Lou Alcindor rule. When I asked Jerry what means the most to him from his time at Stony Brook, he gave me a simple answer: character before career. It's a motto that has remained close to him throughout his life, and he remains grateful for the influence of faculty members like Marvin Goldberg and Carl Soderstrom. Please join me in honoring Jerry Armfield.
Congratulations, gentlemen. And I would ask, if you're going over to lunch, we may come find you and want to do a group picture together. Next on our program is Josh, who is going to share with you Stony Brook Now, Stony Brook Vision. I have to tell you, I've been here a lot of years, and it's a great time to be here, and pretty exciting stuff going on. So Josh?
Thank you again, and I stand between you and lunch. I will be brief. Okay, what I wanted to do just in this time that we're together, a lot of you don't have the chance to connect regularly with the school, and I wanted to give you a snapshot of what's going on. A lot of times I talk to alumni and they say, what's happening at the school? And I say, how much time do you have? And we begin to talk. But Jane's right, it is a very exciting time to be at the Stony Brook School, and a very important time at the Stony Brook School. Our goal, my goal as head of school, is certainly to make you as alumni proud of the work that continues and goes on here, so that when you say, I went to the Stony Brook School, people say, wow, that's a great school. That's our goal. That's what we want to do. So we start, of course, with, are we up? We start with our mission. Mission is the same as it has been for 95 years. And our plans are to continue our mission without deviation. But the way in which that mission is delivered can look different from era to era, and I'll talk a little bit about what that looks like here in the next few minutes. I wanted to give you, though, just a snapshot of kind of the dashboard indicators of school health. There are certain things that you look at that you say, wow, what's happening at that school? Is it growing? Is it sustainable? And certainly what I think that I'm about to show you points to that right now. So this should be our admissions slide. So we have grown student population-wise over the last 3 years from 315 students to 370 students. So there is a growth moment happening here at Stony Brook. Our ratios between day students and boarding students stay pretty constant. 55% are boarders, 45% are day. We come from across Long Island and 24, 25 different countries. So it is truly an international experience here at Stony Brook, which is something we're very proud of. The next slide indicates fundraising, and we have had some good years recently, particularly this last year, where through extreme generosity, we also were able to retire our debt on Canis Commons, our new dining hall and student center, that we built 3 years ago. It's a great facility. It has transformed the Stony Brook experience in many ways, but it came with a price tag. And as a result of our fundraising efforts this last year, we were able to accomplish our objectives, and a generous family retired the debt for us. So we stand now debt-free as we move forward. An important stat when you're talking about college, we're talking about secondary schools, is the college acceptance rate. And so this number here, 73%, shows the percentage of our graduating class that was either accepted to highly selective or most selective colleges. And what that says is a couple of things. Certainly that speaks to the heft of our academic program, but it also, and the quality of our kids, of course, but it also speaks to Stony Brook's reputation amongst higher education institutions. They know that when you get an A at Stony Brook, it's an A. They respect and trust our program, and as a result, our kids are gaining access to some of the most competitive colleges in the world. One of the things, though, that we stress here is the idea of fit. For some students, that's not their goal, and that's okay. We want them to go where God has given them the talents to flourish, and that's something that we're really stressing and emphasizing in our college counseling program. But 73% shows you that the academic program is in good shape. So there's a lot of change going on at Stony Brook, and I might get an amen from a faculty member here in the audience. There we go. Yeah, worried amen. No, it's good. It's good because what we're doing is, some of the investment that we are receiving, we're able to now invest that back into the school. And so you are seeing changes to our campus, changes to our program. But these are good changes. All the changes are designed to better the student experience and better help our kids grow. That's the lens at which we look through everything. We want to be sure that we are enhancing the student experience with every change that we make. And so I want to just share a few of those with you. One of the big developments for us is the advent of STEM and STEAM for us. So I'll explain the two differences. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. It's a holistic, interdisciplinary way of looking at science, technology, engineering, and math. And so if you've had a chance to see on the top floor of Gable Line our STEM lab, our innovation lab, and what's happening in there is students are doing robotics, they're doing 3D modeling and printing and software development. And this is a very, very exciting space for our kids. As I shared with others, you have to chase these kids out of there with a stick because they just want to be there. They want to innovate, they want to create. And the beautiful part about Stony Brook is, yes, we have these technological innovations and we have the kids who can do these kinds of innovations. Some of the stuff that gets created out of that lab, I'm just waiting for the kind of finder's fee and partnership with the next Facebook creator. Then we can just stop fundraising altogether. We'll just live off the dividends. But neat stuff is happening coming out of there. But the beautiful part about Stony Brook and what I think you'll resonate with very much is that we marry the liberal arts with Stony Brook. What we don't need to do is just let kids create without thinking. We bring ethics in, we bring values. We talk about those important topics when we're talking about creating. I think it was Steve Jobs who said it's the liberal arts married with technology that makes our hearts sing. And while I don't quote Steve on a lot of things, I certainly would quote him on that because I think he's exactly right. And that's what we bring together to create beautiful things here at Stony Brook and help kids think in the right ways about creation. STEAM is the same thing, science, technology, engineering, but it adds art. And so we actually won a prestigious competition. It was actually the second highest vote getter. 6 schools across the country were awarded with a grant from the McClellan Foundation, an important foundation out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And our project was simple. We wanted to give kids the opportunity to think big, solve big real-world problems, and give them the funding to do it. So for example, our 9th graders right now are tackling the problem of malaria. They are working together on Wednesdays and tackling the problem of how can we help be part of the solution towards eradicating malaria. This is different teaching than simply sitting in straight rows and listening to the teacher speak and taking notes and taking a Scantron test. This is, okay guys, what do you think? And for some, you get a blank look for a little bit. And then they work together and they collaborate and we work on those 21st century skills that are so important in the work world today. And the kids are getting those as they're rallying around big topics and being empowered to solve big problems. And it's amazing how our kids rise to the occasion. They are talented and they have the ability. and we're really excited to see what comes out of that. That funding has the ability to go on for years, depending on the success of our program. But it was a prestigious award, and we were very excited about it. They're using design thinking, they're bringing in art solutions. There's lots of different disciplines going on, but it is a new and exciting development for us. So I want to show you a picture. This is what's happening in Memorial. So this is the old classroom. It's quaint. You know, there's some character to it, but I think this looks a lot better. So what's happening in Memorial right now is that we are steadily redoing each of the classrooms in that building. Memorial is going to be our humanities building. It's where our our history, our English, and our faith and culture and those different kinds of classes will be happening. And it's a conversation with the great thinkers of the ages. So this is the Shakespeare room, and over time what we'll be doing is we'll be adding artifacts that represent Shakespeare into that room. The next room is, again, a before and after. You know, the brown it's an interesting color, but we're going with a different one. This is the Jane Austen room. And as the designer, who happens to be my wife, reminds me, it's feminine and has curves in it. And I was like, oh wow, that's a little, that's interesting. I don't know if I can share that. But that wasn't the reason. This is the Jane Austen room. Again, what we're doing here also is we are creating spaces that are modular. So these desks and these tables, they move so that we can come together for a lecture space or classroom conversation, or we can break up into smaller pods and work together collaboratively, because we're doing different kinds of pedagogy. We're teaching kids 21st century skills. Standing, lecturing for the entire year and just taking notes is not the way we want to do education, and we're finding success in these new spaces. This is the last one that I'll show you. We have 4. I don't have a picture of one of them up there, but I would encourage you to go see the work that's happening in Memorial and have a vision for what the rest will look like. We'll then move to Gabeline, which will be our STEM building. We started with the Innovation Lab up top. We will continue to go with that theme and work on developing 21st century labs for our students. The big change for us this year is in our schedule. We have a fairly normal schedule, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, like you would anticipate, although we are in block periods now. But on Wednesday, something really special happens. On Wednesday, we've totally scrapped the normal classroom design, and we're going with what we're calling mini courses. Mini courses are 4 to 6 to 8 week classes where kids get to study a subject that they're really interested in. We put before them kind of a panoply of options, and they try to find that thing that they've been wondering about, they've been thinking about. And mini courses have 2 purposes. One, look, information is everywhere in this day and age. You can get whatever information you want. It's how you acquire the information, it's how you discern and understand the information that really matters. So in mini courses, we're teaching kids how to learn, so that they can take any topic that they're interested in and go do a deep dive into it and learn more about it. But the other component is it's obviously opening up student choice, and it's giving kids access to a way of thinking, to topics and subjects that they otherwise wouldn't have seen. So this is just a sampling of some of the mini courses that are happening on our campus right now. Everything from improv theater to creating drones and submersibles to studying the history of Central and South America. These are appetite whetters, and they will hopefully blossom and flourish into something for students down the road. But it's really exciting. You should talk to them about it. This other slide that I showed here with me was with the megaphone. I'm actually not talking, which is good. I'm actually holding the megaphone because this is one of our seniors. I taught a leadership class of our prefects for the first 5 weeks of school. And we actually had a chance not just to talk about servant leadership, but actually go and do it. We went into Central Islip, and there's a ministry called Lighthouse Missions, and they feed about 100 people every week. And our kids served, and this is Josh Martin, our chapel prefect, who was sharing his testimony, sharing his faith with this group of people. And it was really a privilege to stand there and hold the megaphone for him to be able to speak into as he shared his story and went into the audience and prayed with people and talked to them and shook their hand. And it was just a really special moment for our prefects, for our student leaders. And that's what Wednesdays give us a chance to do. We can talk about servant leadership, talk. But the chance to get out and go and do something and get your hands dirty and interact is what we're really after. And so we have kids who are doing internships. They're over at the University Hospital. They're on the university campus doing research. We have folks out in the Hamptons doing journalism. We've got folks in engineering firms doing technology internships, engineering internships. It's just really exciting. And these kids are really taking to it. All right, so I just wanted, as we close, just a couple of things. So I'm a big kind of organizational person. I really like to study organizations and where they are in their life cycles. And this is what I would share with you. This is one man's opinion, but I think it's substantiated. So 3 years ago, we were a little stuck. We had some inertia that we needed to shake off, and I think we've done that. And the way in which we did that is we attracted people and we attracted resources who would believe in a better Stony Brook. And folks came along, and the Hollises and the Canises, and they gave significantly to bring us Canis Commons. And then we've had donors come along, and then we've had people, faculty and administrators and families come, and they're attracted to something that's happening here, something that's springing up out of the ground, something that's really, really exciting. And they put their shoulder to the plow and they've begun to work. And I don't know if you're familiar with Jim Collins, but he gives the analogy of the flywheel, which is this big wheel that you've got to turn slowly at first, because it's so heavy and it's so massive. If you just try to put all your effort, you'll burn out. But over time, as it begins to turn and more people come, the wheel turns faster and faster and faster. So we first attracted people and resources and began to invest. And then after that, we started to build institutional strength. We've got the people on board who can really help us. We've begun new programs. And the analogy that he gives is the difference between a time teller and a clock builder. What if you had an incredible organizational genius who knew all the answers, and in his analogy, who could tell you the time at any point in time in the day without a watch, right? Wow, that'd be an amazing person. Well, what happens when that person goes away? Well, if everybody's been looking to that person for all of the answers, the organization's in trouble. Collins advocates building a clock, an institution that will tell time into the future. And that's what we're doing. We're building an institution that has staying power, that will last beyond any one individual and be strong into the future. And that's been happening. And then you demonstrate results. And that's what I showed you in the first 3 slides. We're growing. We're receiving more investment. Our kids are getting into good colleges. There are results that are demonstrable for us, and it's exciting. And then the last piece, and this is where we are. We're building our brand. And I know that may sound strange, some kind of interesting language to talk about when we talk about a school, but the reality is everything, for better or for worse, is marketing these days. We have got to get our name out. We have got to reclaim the imagination about Stony Brook in this country and beyond that. And we have pockets where we are very well known. In fact, in China, we were on the top 10 best schools in America list when we were over there, ranked by a Barron's or their version of Barron's or Forbes. It felt good. I went over there, I was treated like a rock star, I gotta tell you. I came home, not so much. I was like, why don't I go back to China? This is fun. But we've got a great reputation in China. But our goal is to have a great reputation across this globe. And so we've actually about to engage a marketing firm who's done really good work in our space. And they're going to help us. They're going to help us clarify our story. They're going to help us build our brand out in the marketplace and really, I think, reflect the true reality of the great Stony Brook that it is. We were recently ranked number 1 by Niche.com, a number 1 private school on Long Island, and number 10 in the state of New York. Now, I like 1 better than 10, so we've got some work to do, but some of the schools that we beat out in the city are pretty impressive. So folks are starting to recognize this, and it's not about our glory. It's not about any person's glory. It's about God's glory, and it's about the good of this institution. But the better our institution is regarded, the more opportunities will open up for us, and that's what we're pursuing. So we just launched our new website. I don't know if you had a chance to see that. That's the new front cover of it. Behind the website is a number of awesome tools for parents and students. We used to have several different logins. Now we just come into one place, which feels really good. And we are developing a theme here. And this is what I'll close with and leave you with. So as part of marketing, you need stuff to talk about. You need something that you can kind of sum up your brand, sum up your institution. What are you about? What are you after? And one of the beautiful things about Stony Brook is that we are a Christian school. We hold deeply to our Christian values. And we serve people who don't hold to Christian values, and that's okay. Our goal is to create a language that is accessible to all, so that they can see the value and benefit of Stony Brook, whether you're coming from a faith-based perspective or not. And I think we've kind of hit on something in this concept of learning to navigate. So I don't know if you've had a chance to go down into Monroe. Some have. I think the class of 66 did. But we were given, as a donation, a world-class 737 flight simulator. You can do a barrel roll in it and you'll get sick. I mean, it's amazing. This thing is remarkable. You've got screens everywhere, and what we have the opportunity to do, and we've buttressed it with a lot of other flight technology, is we can now teach kids how to fly. We're partnering with Mid-Island Air out of Islip, and kids will literally be able to learn how to fly as part of the Wednesday mini courses. Okay? So as you can imagine, we've got a long line signed up for that. It's kind of like a lottery we have to do in order to pick the kids who can do this. But we're learning to navigate in the air. And as you know, we've got a robust sailing program where we have learned to navigate. And I see George and Jean Lindsay there, who were so instrumental in developing that program into the robust program that it is. So we can honestly say that we can help you navigate the seas, navigate the air, and then of course our main goal, and particularly in the complexity of this age that our kids live in, which is a very complex age, we can help them navigate life because we have wisdom. And the goal of Stony Brook teachers is to share our lives and our wisdom with our students so that they can look at us and watch us and hopefully in most cases say, yes, I want to do that too, okay? It's a special part about Stony Brook is that we feel like we have the confidence without the bravado or pride, but the confidence that we can tell students, this is a good way, and if you follow it, you will be blessed. And so we tell kids, we will teach you how to navigate, not only that water, not only the air, but also life, which is really important. We've got some big things ahead of us that we're thinking about, that we're planning. We're in the process of developing a master facilities plan, which will chart the course for the next 100 years of the campus. We've joked earlier in a breakfast that Johnston Hall has been talked about being torn down for 50 years now, and that's a long time. So we've got some plans that we're working on. And there are a lot of interconnected parts on this campus, as you can imagine, but we're asking ourselves a question, how do we set ourselves up for the next 100 years? Our centennial anniversary comes up in 2022. It's when the school turns 100, which is a great milestone for accomplishing a lot of objectives and a great fundraising opportunity. Okay? But we are looking forward, and I want you to have the confidence that your school is doing well and is poised to do even better in the future. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Josh. Just a couple little housekeeping things. Sailing is still on, and if you have signed up for sailing, George, there you are. If you could all just connect with George over at the dining room. And then if you came over with your parade sign, if you could bring those over to lunch. And then we are going to have lunch in our Canis Commons. And at different points, I'll be coming around asking your class to come out to the lobby. We're going to do some class pictures. And I think Bruce, our school photographer, is headed over. Bruce, you're not here right now, are you? Nope, he's gone over to set up. We do want to get a group picture of the Athletic Hall of Fame winners as well. So thank you for joining us at this convocation, and if we could all head over for lunch.